Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Purplatypus is the name, and today we're talking about the Thief and how they've changed from Octopath 1 to Octopath 2. But really quick, before we jump into it, I want to take a quick second to say if you're liking these videos and you want to keep seeing more of them, obviously, I'd appreciate it if you guys subscribe. Liking the video I hear is important. I don't really care that much, but we are going to be streaming this game right when Octopath Traveler 2 drops. So if you want to be part of the community and the discussion and the discovering of the game, I highly recommend you follow and then check out the streams both on YouTube and Twitch because I stream on both. Other than that, I am interested, now that we're getting through quite a few of these, please let me know what your favorite starting character is or starting class is, who you think you're going to start as in the comments down below. I'm just interested to see what you guys think are strong and if any of these videos are kind of helping you change your mind or helping you understand anything better. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump right into it. So, the Thief is actually the first character that I think might be, I think they're strong, but I think they may have gotten a nerf from Octopath 1 overall. But let's go ahead and go into the skills first of all. So during the day, you have the action to steal. Very good. Obviously, you guys know how to do this. There's a % chance you get an item for free. Exactly the same as Octopath 1. At night, you can ambush. This is basically the ability to, you know, when you beat someone up as Ulbrich and they got knocked out on the ground, you could do this at nighttime without ever having to fight them. So you have to be a certain level. But this is a way to get past those things without having to do a whole conflict, which is kind of nice. Now, the talent here used to be to open purple chests. They've seemed to have removed all purple chests from the game, which I find is a huge benefit. And instead, we got the awesome talent to grant all allies an attribute raising effect at the start of a battle at night. Now, it seems to be go a little bit beyond that, actually, and it seems to grant many attribute boosting effects, not just like one. It just seemed like I saw it. It was like, oh, it was like multiple things, and it seemed pretty powerful of an ability overall. I have really liked it. Makes fighting at nighttime a little bit easier, which it already is a little bit harder on average, but it's more that you get more experience, more JP fighting at night. So this makes it a little bit easier to grind as well. And they actually have another ability that makes it easier to grind, but we'll get to that in a second. So steal is exactly the same. You know, this is how good this is or how bad this is purely going to recommend on things outside of our current knowledge. What can you steal from enemies? Can you steal some insanely great game-breaking items? Are there items that there's only one of in the game that has an enemy, like old Final Fantasy games, things like that? Or is everything you could steal going to be easily replaceable with things you could spend money on? I don't know how much of a boon this is. It's really cool, thematic. I like it. I like doing it to get some extra items, usually get some items early. But how good it's going to be in actuality, I'm just not sure yet. So we do not have fire-based damage as this character. We now have dark-based damage. So we have kind of, some of the jobs have switched their elements around. And so now our Thief is darkness, which kind of makes sense more thematically with the ambushing at night and the extra status effects at night for the character. And another of our talents is a night specific talent. So this is very, cool. I think it's cool. It's thematic, really no different than the fire damage, I assume. Same SP cost and everything. HP Thief is exactly the same. Nothing different here. Surprise attack. This is the one that I would say is a buff. This is replacing, as you can see here, the SP, the Steel SP. Steel SP was the ability to attack twice with a dagger and get SP equal to like 5% of the damage dealt. That is now given to the cleric. It's been buffed to 10%, probably to compensate for the lower overall damage. But instead of having the SP, so we don't have as much sustain as we had before, but now we have a really powerful surprise attack here. Unleash a sword attack on a single foe. The sooner your action comes during a turn, the more potent the attack. So if you move first, this becomes very powerful. This is immediately making me think that maybe this character is going to want to use the boots from the inventor class to guarantee you move first for like 5 turns in a row. That way your surprise attacks are just going to do more damage. You can just use this turn after turn after turn, even without BP. It'll still be pretty good for dealing damage. I really want to try the inventor class combined with I want Agnia on inventor class using the boots to make the entire party move first, and I want to know if that bypasses breaking an enemy, them going first the following turn, because that would be instantly like game breakingly powerful. But we'll figure that out later. That's just something that I thought about when I read this. So an old strategy for the Thief, what they used to do is I mean, they were always good damage dealers, but they had an SP battery roll. They had the ability to steal SP by smacking people while breaking shields if they were weak to daggers at 2 at a time. And then they could share their SP with other characters, so they could be a battery, essentially. They can get some damage in and then use theirs to give it to other characters so they never run out. That's not really possible at all anymore, unless there's something hidden in these three abilities that we can't see. But based off this being an attack, and these being like a spell, probably like an AoE dark spell and some sort of buff spell, I just don't know if we're going to have the ability to share SP. And we don't have the ability to gain SP anyway. So that kind of element of them is gone. Now, the things that are still the same here, we do have Shackle Foe, Armor Corrosive, lower physical attack, lower physical defense of single foe for 2 turns. These are identical. Both of these are pretty weak abilities, but it's still like not bad. Like, you would rather have, if you're having a very physical oriented team, you're going to want to put this on a foe right before you break them. That way, when they're broken, you're doing way more damage to kill them extra fast. So it's definitely good in some situations, but it's not insane. Kind of with Shacklefo also. It's like good, but it's not insane. It's like fine. You really wish it was all enemies, or you wish it was for longer than 2 turns, or you wish it was physical and elemental. Like, there's a lot of ways to make it really strong and like really good. Instead, it's just like, all right, this is a niche ability that you're going to use sometimes to deal a lot more damage. Then we have Swift Step here. This seems kind of weak. I would rather have like, what do we have before? We had the HP Thief, which we still have. The Surprise Attack replaced the Shackle Foe. And this is basically then replacing... Surprise Attack replaced the SP Steal. And Swift Step is basically replacing the SP Share. So, raise your speed for 3 turns. If this ability is similar to what the Thief had before, where it deals damage proportional to your speed, then this could be pretty good. Otherwise, increasing your speed for 3 turns while there's the boots that guarantee to make you move first for 5 turns, I don't know. Maybe it's like fine. But it doesn't seem insane to me. This seems kind of weak. But again, I haven't really played around with this game enough yet to know how powerful this is. So there's a chance that this is actually really, really good. But to me, it's typically going to feel like a waste of a turn. So when we get to these skills here, they're actually going to be pretty similar. Incidental attack is the same. Equipping character has a 50% chance of attacking when using a non-damaging skill. Now, I did use a non-damaging skill 4 times in a row, and this triggered 0 times, despite it being equipped. So there's a real good chance that this will do nothing. However, the ability to use an armor corrosive and then attack, or to use a swift step and then attack, or to use a steal, then attack, just in your own class, not even including the other classes, like, that's pretty good. It's not like great. Like, what is 1 dagger attack? It's a 50% of the time. It's not insane, but it is nice. Especially, this is something, again, once you have a subclass, a second class where you can have multiple weapons, and then you can always exploit their weakness. Make sure you have the right weapon equipped. That way you're always like doing, when you're doing these abilities, you're also hopefully going to be breaking a shield as well. So it's a reasonable attack. Nothing insane though. Fleetfoot, raise the equipping character's speed by 50. I actually think this is quite a bit better. You do want to move first pretty much all the time. Like, there's no disadvantage to having a lot of speed. And again, it makes surprise attack stronger if you go early in the turn. It makes potentially this stronger if it is that ability that was an Octopath 1. And overall, just going faster is good. The only reason I think Swift Step isn't insane is because it's you have to spend a turn doing it, and this raising your speed for 3 turns is on average going to be way worse than using the boots of the inventor to make you guaranteed go first for 5 turns with 0 boost. So it's more that this is just a bad version of that ability, which is why I'm like, why would I want to do this when I have access to the other one? But not everyone could be an inventor, so there is that as well. Now we have something actually different here. Ensnare. The equipping character has a 50% chance of inflicting an attribute reducing effect when taking physical damage. So I think this might be the best thing about that. This ability here kind of cements them in a role of, yeah, they're a damage dealer as a thief. Yeah, they have the ability to steal and maybe keep themselves alive and do some damage. But really what their emphasis is on here, between having the incidental attack and having this, is they're debuffers, right? Like, you're going to want abilities that lower your enemy's stats. Even Throne has that emphasis, right? When she starts a fight, well, I mean, she boosts everyone, but like the cleric has, I guess, the one that I would think would go better here. But you know, now you can use armor corrosive, now you can use shackle foe. If you switch into a different class, right, you could lower elemental defense, you could lower enemies, whatever, XYZ, yada yada. And while you're doing that, you're dealing damage, and while they're hitting you, they also are getting more effects stacked on top of them. So I think that like the thief's primary role is going to be a debuffer of some kind with damage as well. A little bit of coverage, right? They've got dagger, they've got sword, they've got darkness, so they've got a little bit of coverage as well. But I think it's mostly going to be a debuffer with a secondary of after they're all debuffed, then you start wailing in the damage. And then Life in the Shadows receive additional EXP and JP after battles at night. This is going to be a super rush ability for me. Very, very, very. I'm going to instantly rush this ability 100%. It's just too important to me. I want EXP and I want JP. I want to get every character with every job maxed out and start finding the most OP combinations of skills and passives and interactions. And this is going to be the shortest path to get there. So this is actually, I think this is a nerf in a sense. So Life in Shadows is basically replacing Snatch. So it's kind of equal, I suppose. Equipping character would equipping character would receive double loot when using steal or collect skills. So that's like, okay, that's like fine, getting extra stuff when stealing. I think EXP, I think this is actually a buff, the EXP and JP. But the other ability here, right, the 50% chance to inflict a tribute, reducing effects, this is being replaced by what they had before is status ailments and attribute penalties inflicted by this character will last for an additional turn. So this is, it's a little equal. I think this might be a little bit worse because you're getting random things here some of the time. It's like there's a lot of steps for ensnare to work, and it's still good, and I think it's probably really good, but you first need to get hit by a physical attack, and then half of the time you get hit by a physical attack, it'll do something. And then out of the things it does, there's a good chance it's not going to do the one that you actually want, right? Like what if it debuffs its elemental attack and it's a physical unit, right? What if you're trying to so like maybe it debuffs its speed while your team's already faster, that kind of stuff. So there's a good chance that this could do nothing, but the fact that it's passive and is always proccing is kind of good. I still think it's better old one having the attribute penalties and ailments were increased by a turn, because that included status ailments as well. So not just attribute altering effects. But overall, I think the thief is going to be really strong, but I think they got a bit of a nerf here. I think the thief might have been a little overtuned in the last one. They did feel really strong, so they cut back their ability to break shields a little bit. I mean, they have this, but they don't have the sustain, right? They don't have the SP break. Like the SP steal was very strong on a damage dealer, so it seems like they're going to take a backseat to being an SP battery and being a pure damage dealer to being much more of a aggressive support, making your enemy weaker so that you could beat the fuck out of it on the turns that they're broken. And at least that's the vibe I'm getting. We'll see how these EX skills and how this final ability all work together, and how it all comes together as a class overall. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Let me know how you feel about the thief overall and their changes. Do you like it? Do you hate it? I'm a little, I won't say disappointed. I really like Throne, and I actually think the thief is really fun, but I did really like the thief in Octopath 1 as well, and I miss SP Steel, but you know what? It just makes the cleric all that much cooler, and I think the cleric could have used a little bit love in OT1 as well. Anyway, that's it. See you guys in the next video. Peace.